Hello, branded fans. It's time for something I like to call your Paperboy's Rant. I don't know how many of you know what I do in the dirt world and for my contract work, but I deliver newspapers for two different local printing companies. So the Record newspaper I do on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the morning, and the other job is the Times Colonist, which is a national paper out of Victoria. It's like 150 years old or something, older than the province. Yeah, been around for a long time. It gets delivered 6 days a week. I do that Tuesday to Sunday, and because of that, we have two cars and two vans. And it would seem like for the last 3 months, and this is the paperboy rant part, I'm getting to know my mechanic really well. Turns out I like my mechanic, and I'd rather pay business expenses to him than I would pay income tax on the income if I was an employee, so it sort of works out well for me and for him. But I seem to keep being blessed and cursed by finding odd mechanical situations that people have just never heard of or have never seen happen before or rare or unique. So I don't know if any of you are mechanically inclined or have any experience around older used cars, but it really amazes me sometimes what people that quote call themselves professionals actually do in the course of getting their job done. I recently had an odd experience. I have a 1997 Mazda Protege, little 1.9 liter 5-speed Mazda car, wonderful little four-door sedan I use in the morning to deliver my newspapers. Been driving it now for like almost 2 years, got 65,000 kilometers on it since we bought it, started to have a misfire, thought we should change the spark plug, could solve that problem. Recently done a clutch on it, like keep it running good and reliable. So doing some maintenance, and son-in-law Dwayne goes out and pops the leads out and says, wow, it's kind of weird. There's no space in here. Puts a socket in, can't get the socket all the way down over the plugs. Well, that's weird. Okay, well, we're going to get a thin wall socket. So I talked to a mechanic friend of mine that we reach out to every time it's beyond us or it's complicated or, requires specialty tools that we don't have at home in our garage. Both me and my son-in-law are handy, but I'm not going to take the Transax Auto car, which was recently experienced. I've had done twice in this last year. But hey, that's okay. That's what this guy does for a living, and he is a master mechanic. It turns out part of the reason I seem to find these oddball repair jobs is I always have somebody around that can fix these oddball things and figure out what was done wrong by the previous guy and get things back into shape and working. So in this instance, somebody was in a hurry or was distracted, and they had taken a 13/16 spark plug and put it in a 5/8 space. So what had happened is somehow they'd gotten these plugs down this tube about 3.5, 4 inches long in the bottom, because it's a dual overhead cam motor and the plugs go in the center because that's the efficient way to get around where the camshafts are that support having 16 valves in your 4-cylinder motor. It's a little bit of a mechanical lesson there. So yeah, long story short, we took the valve cover off to get more access and figured out that somebody put in these what looked like to be, full-size V8, big block, old school, high-performance spark plugs into this little tiny Mazda motor, and there was no room for a tool to fit around them to pull them out. So after contacting the mechanic, he came over, brought a slim wall socket that wouldn't even fit in the hole. Decision was made to snap the porcelain off to expose the base and then try to use an easy out to extract it. Didn't work out so well. Wow, I'm glad this guy's a master. So he went home overnight, thought about it, didn't even know whether the car was repairable or how it could be fixed. But, I have faith in him. He's a great guy. Worked with him for over a year. He's never let me down yet. He's always come in under budget, or at least on budget. It was only costing me the extra parts that could not have been possibly imagined when we took it apart. But, you got to fix everything when you find it. And that saves some time and some money later on down the road. So he comes back the next day with a $5 extension tool for like taking a spark plug out of your lawnmower, and it's the right size to fit. And he brings a bench grinder from home and plugs it in the wall and grinds this socket down and fits it in and grinds it down and fits it in and grinds it down until it fits it in around the spark plug, and it barely fits around and actually kinks in the spark plug and fits, and he manages to extract the plug. So I am blessed that he is a master and patient. But the man actually had to make a tool to fix the mistake that some previous person had done. We didn't even know about it. We'd had the car for over 2 years to use. My son-in-law had bought it for him and his wife, and because they're a growing family, we've been big enough, the car had come to me, and they were still using it when they needed an extra set of wheels. So we worked on it together and shared it, and everything was going good. Now, this could have been a $500 repair bill, because if the man hadn't been competent enough to make a tool to do the job, to do this custom extraction of these fancy spark plug some previous person had put in by mistake or deliberate. Well, I don't even know how they got him in there. We couldn't figure it out. He actually had to grind about 1/3 or maybe half of the material off around the tool so it could fit into the hole over the spark plug. Then take a hammer and tap it around it so it actually fit tight. So then he could put a socket on the top of the tool and then extract it out that way. He actually made a 4-inch adapter to fit between the 5/8 socket and the 13/16 plug that had been stuffed in the hole. So, for $20 worth of spark plugs, the miss is gone and the car runs great. Cost me an hour of the mechanic's time. He was there longer than that, but he's not going to charge me for the first half an hour when he was figuring out that something was broken. I paid for the $5 tool, which I now have in my toolbox. Not that I'm ever going to need it again, but in case we ever run across the same problem, because, well, just somebody did it once, it could be done again. I mean, maybe there's an argument for it, but we had no idea what was wrong immediately. And I'm so glad I have a master that I can go and call and say, hey, Jeff, please come over, take a look at this. It doesn't look right, and I don't want to mess with it. It's beyond my expertise. So the lesson here is, if you don't know how to do something, find the absolute best person that you know that can take care of the job, pay them good money, respect their time, and they will treat you well and get the job done. And not only has that been my experience with my mechanic Jeff, but it's also been my experience here in the branded platform with Natasha Hazlett and all of her training and all of her programs. So thanks, Natasha, and thank you, everybody in the branded community, for stopping and listening. It's negative and positive, but that's how life is, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, do-si-do, and keep moving. So thanks for listening, and take care. It all turned out great, as it usually does. And it was only 24 hours of stress, and I didn't know if I had a car to drive tomorrow morning at 3:30 a.m. when I bravely went to do my papers. But I don't have to worry about that. I can carry on with the video challenge. I'm going to make a post a day. I'm going to go to some training tonight. Life's good. Enjoy your day. Take care. Bye.